Hello friends, how are you? My name is Corbin Reed and welcome to my YouTube channel. Currently, I am not in my home. I am away from home at the moment. I'm in New York City. We're filming season 2 of a show that I'm on called Run the World. But I live in LA and I recently bought a new home there and have been designing away and doing some DIYs and doing a lot of shopping and a lot of vintage shopping and antique shopping and thrifting. I'm in an Airbnb in New York City. It's very sterile. It's a new build also. And one of my favorite ways to bring soul into a space is to bring in vintage and antique pieces because they're old and they have soul just by nature of having been around for a long time. So this is gonna be a haul video. It's gonna be a haul, I'm gonna share with you the things I've gotten that are, some of them are vintage, some of them are antique. Some of them I got off of Amazon, and anything that I can link down below, I will link. Obviously the vintage and antique pieces I can't necessarily link, but I can try and find similar pieces for you to find for your own home. Some of them are from Michael's. I think I got a couple pieces from Home Goods. Oh, and a lot of them are from Etsy as well. So it's a modge-podge of things that I bought to make the space feel more like home, make it feel less sterile, because I'm here for about 3 months in New York, away from all of, my homely things. And I wanted to buy pieces that I could add to my collection in my house, but also would be easy for me to pack up and bring back to Los Angeles. I know this is like a very unique set of circumstances, but I actually think if you're in an apartment or you're in a rental or you're just looking to decorate your space, I think this can be applicable to all kinds of people in all kinds of situations. So I wanted to share what I've done in this Airbnb, in this space that is not mine, to make it feel like home without having to change, the walls or change anything, like do any renovations or anything like that. It's all just strictly decor. You can really transform a space with decor. So let's get into it. First thing I want to share is this really beautiful hand-carved stone bowl. It has like a really beautiful patina on it. It's not massive. You could use this you could put some potpourri in here. You could use it as a fruit bowl. You could use this I've seen this place like, it's pretty shallow. You could use it to place like some paper napkins in here and put it in like a guest bathroom so that when your guests come over, they have something to dry their hands on. This is kind of just like a very standard catch-all. You could put this on a stack of books and just leave it by itself, because honestly on its own it's so beautiful. The that I got is this antique brass serving tray. It's a recreation of like a vintage piece. It has a lot of there's like an etching in the middle and this sort of really beautiful detailing on the sides. I use this next to the nightstand. I have the bedroom is like very white. And again, I'll show you how I've styled all this stuff later, but it's very white. And so I'm just adding I have the same color palette that I have in my house, just stone and ceramic and brass and like nice rich fabrics like linen and blacks and whites. If you buy things in this sort of color palette, you can put them in any room. It doesn't matter. So yes, right now I have it next to my nightstand, but when I get home, I have a lot more rooms and a lot more spaces to design. So I could really put this anywhere, and because I have a color palette, I can move it around. And this is just super versatile. I put my blue light glasses in here, just like a pretty little way to display them next to the bed that makes me feel special. So the next things that I'm gonna show you, vintage books. this stack of vintage books. I got these. Usually you find these in antique stores. I got these from Home Goods. I honestly couldn't believe it, and they were under $30. So these can run like $30, $40 a piece at an antique or vintage store. I just like them because, again, I'm in a very sterile space. I have them sitting next to my nightstand, and I use them for styling. I mean, there's wording in here. There are words. I just like the color and the texture, and they're really beautifully weathered. There's like some nice distressing on the binding there. They're just pretty to look at. And again, in a sterile space, they warm up the space. So old books are a really good way for you to decorate a space. Also recently got a new bed. We've had the same bed in LA for, geez, 6 years now. I'll be doing like makeovers and things like that, so you'll see this. And I ordered one that has like a French theme, and it's like linen, and it's got a footboard, and she's gorgeous, but she's back ordered. But anyways, I'm thinking ahead, and the bed, when I came here, just had like very boring white sheets and boring white pillowcases. And I happen to live across the street from a Home Goods, so I got some different sheets. But I also have been really loving this trend, this style, this more traditional style of mixing patterns on pillows. I think it looks more collected, and it looks like you have a room, again, that tells a story. It looks higher end when you are able to successfully mix patterns into a space. So the first one I found is this sort of, I wanna say they're like leaves. There's this sort of leafy pattern. These are all 26 by 26 pillows. The pillows came with the Airbnb. At home, I use feather fillers to go in the pillows, which I highly recommend, so that you can chop the pillows. I can't chop these because they're cotton fill, which I'm not into, but it does the job on the bed with all of the items that I got. It looks really beautiful. I got all of these off of a site on Etsy called Hackner Home, which I will link down below. I highly recommend. These are all 100% cotton. This is a sort of like tea colored pillow with these stripes, which I think is really beautiful. And then this is the third one. Again, they're all 100% cotton. Woo! Etsy has some really good selections. A lot of things these days are mixed with polyester or whatever. I highly recommend, if you're going to put things on your bed, make sure they're natural. Go for linens and cottons and velvets and things that are natural. It'll just make your bed look a lot higher end. And patterns too. Look for patterns. And the key to mixing patterns is look for things in the same color wheel, and look for things that have texture. And you know, you can vary the stripes, you can vary the prints, you can do one that's solid. It's much more interesting to the eye, and it's kind of like artwork for your bed. So I'm really starting to feel like a shopaholic. I'm shopping for my home. I'm shopping for my home. For this home, but also my home at home. That's what I have to tell myself. Anyways, I got a couple more items for the bed. This next one is, I really, really love. I've seen these on Amber Interiors, okay? And they're like $345, which I think is crazy, crazy. Go on Etsy. Go on Etsy. These are called Kantha quilts. Now, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but this is like a beige floral print. It's so stunning. There are these like sort of stitchings all on top of the quilt. These are handmade in India. This was like $83. And it's handmade, it's 100% cotton. The backing, if you turn it over, it's got this beautiful stitching on the back. Amber Interiors has these on her website in different colors, but again, they're like almost $400. And if you know Amber Interiors, you know it's like a very trendy website. She replicates a lot of vintage furniture, and she does beautiful work, but I truly believe her stuff is a little overpriced, it's a little expensive. Artisans support small businesses, support craftsmen. This, I will link the name to this shop on Etsy down below. I believe it's called Enever Crafts. And this covers the entire king size bed. And again, it's in the same color palette as the pillows that I got. And I put this over, I brought from home, I shipped a blue duvet cover, and I hated it. And I was like, I don't like the blue, I want neutral. So I just put this over the top, and basically it looks like a duvet cover. And honestly, when I get back home, I'll layer this on the bed with like a mohair blanket or something and these pillows, and the texture with the new bed, it's gonna be so gorgeous. There is one more pillow that I got. I just stuffed a regular size pillow in here, and honestly, I stuffed the corners with some, I shouldn't even be telling you this, with some towels to fill it out, because I don't want to go buy pillows that I have to then bring home. And things I can fold and put in my suitcase. So I got this gorgeous vintage floral print pillow from a small company on Etsy called Marigold Interiors. And this is a 14 by 36. It's long. I have a king size bed here, but these all together look really good. Again, it's super interesting. It looks kind of vintage and pretty. It's 100% cotton. Again, go for cottons, go for rich prints. Everything here is like earth toned, so when they go all together, they mix really well. So another piece that I got was a piece of art. When I got to this apartment, oh my God, it was so bare. The walls above the bed, and I'll try and do a before and after so you guys can kind of see what I did. The walls were covered with these little mirrors, like these 3 little mirrors in the walls that were like, I don't know, they just look like they were done by someone with no taste. Putting it nicely. So I took those off the walls, and I just got some command strips. If you're in a rental, you're, in a situation like I am, which is rare, or you just don't want to put holes in your walls, command strips are great and they can hold a lot of weight. So it's a great alternative to putting nails in the wall if you're in a rental, or if you're like me, you just want to put something on the wall temporarily. I got this little farmhouse print. It's just a landscape portrait. It has really warm colors. I think it's about 16 by 10, I wanna say, and it's from Target, and they printed it on like a canvas material, antiquing on the frame too, just like painted on the frame. And I hung it above my bed, and it just adds some interest to the wall. When I get home, I'll probably use it to style on a shelf. I have a lot of, I've added some open shelving in different rooms in the house, in the kitchen and the bathroom. And it just adds a visual interest, and it adds a little bit of warmth to the very white, cold, sterile room that was there before. Okay, so this is the room before I did anything to it. Like I said before, there was 3 little weird mirrors on the wall. I took them off the wall just for the purposes of showing you the before, but it was just all white, these lamps, and some white sheets. So I brought this down-filled comforter from home with, like I said, the blue duvet cover, which I wanted neutral. So this is the Kantha quilt that I showed you in the haul, and essentially I just spread it out over the top of this blue duvet cover, and once it was completely covered, it gave the effect of just being a king-size duvet cover, and I get the same amount of warmth from the feathers that are in the queen-size duvet. I didn't know that this Airbnb was going to have a king-size bed, so this was the perfect solution, and it provides just a really nice, luxurious, interesting to the eye pattern base for the bed, and then you can go from there when it comes to layering the bed. So next up, it was time for me to add these really beautifully patterned pillows from Hackner Home that I showed you in the haul. I went ahead and put the charcoal colored pillow in the middle just because I felt like it was the busiest pattern, and it would sort of anchor the other 2 when it came to the design. It sort of like anchors your eye, but you can play with it. I mean, I've also put the colored ticking stripe in the middle, and that also looks really nice. I would say just put the heaviest pattern in the middle and then put the lighter patterns on the outside. And then there's the lumbar pillow, spread out across all 3 of them, and as you can see, it's a decent size. Honestly, you could go even longer, but for Hackner Home, this is the longest one I could find. This is a dark gray weighted blanket that I brought from home. I believe it's about 15 pounds. It's from AirBnb .com, and I can link this down below. I really like the look of it, the chunky knit, but also the weight of it is really nice. It can help with like anxiety and just like helping you get to sleep if you like a little bit of weight on you when you're going to bed. And then the last piece I added to the bed in terms of styling was this linen blanket, and I will link this down below. After the bed was all nice and styled, I went ahead and hung this frame that I showed you in the haul from Target over the bed and just sort of eyeballed it and centered it, no leveler or anything. I actually like that the frame is small. A lot of times I would usually use a larger scale piece of art, but this is also a very vintage looking vibe. So next up, it was time for me to start styling the nightstand. So these are the vintage inspired or actual vintage books that I found at Home Goods that I showed you in the haul. That glass vase is something I actually found here in the Airbnb, and these olive stems are faux stems that I found off of Etsy. They come in a pack of 4. I will also link these down below. Here I'm bringing in the stone vintage bowl I showed you earlier in the haul next to the bed, and that can just be used as a catch-all, but most of all I put it here just for the purposes of aesthetic. Again, the aged nature of the stone with the aged vintage books and the stems looks really beautiful together. So this is the other side of the bed. I'm putting a marble tray that I got off of Amazon, a larger one to hold this candle that I also got off of Amazon, and this electric lighter and wick trimmer, which I featured in my kitchen and living room styling video, and this brass tray. It's an antique replica that I showed in the haul. I also am using as a catch-all, and then another marble tray which I got off of Amazon for my jewelry, and I will link all of this down below. But it's just a good way to corral all of the items next to my bed so it looks purposeful and intentional and aesthetically pleasing. And that pretty much wraps up this video. All of the items here featured together just give this white boring room a beautiful, warm feeling.